Hey guys, I'm just gonna wait for some more people to get in here before I make the official raise your hand announcement. People seem to miss that every week. Good morning. Good morning to you all.
Morning.
Morning.
Hi, guys. Seen- I know.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, guys. I saw a couple of you uh decline to be panelists. Am I wrong? If so, just know that you shouldn't decline it if you want to be on camera. Um, Nick should be here in a moment.
So I have something exciting to share, which is kind of a brag before Nick gets here, but
Do
Okay.
it.
it might help people with, when you're told that something's impossible or, can't be done or it's hereditary or you need to take all these drugs. Um, I had my cholesterol test yesterday and I've been working really hard on this for 2 years, like putting in all the reps. I've got my cholesterol down with no drugs, just diet and exercise. 116 points, total
Oh
points.
my gosh. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Congratulations.
So
That is
Awesome.
awesome.
That's awesome.
I'm really proud of that.
You
You
should
Um,
be.
should be.
I needed to get it down 20 more from my last blood test. I only got it down 11, but that just means I'm not done yet. And I have a little more work to do, but I believe that it's possible. So don't let anybody ever tell you that it can't be done, if you're willing to put in the reps. And so, I mean, I completely changed what I eat, how much I'm exercising. I don't miss, and I that's the result of it. I mean, 116 freaking points.
Let's
So
go.
Oh,
So cool.
that's all.
Well, Nick was here when you said that, so I know you said you
That's
wanted to say
that's
it before he
pretty
got here, but
that's
you
a pretty big deal.
Yes, BFD.
Yeah, 100%. That's a big win.
Thank you.
All right.
what a way to start it off.
Yeah,
Thanks, Elise.
coming in some momentum.
Just I we only have 10 people in our waiting room right now, but I'm just gonna remind everyone, I'll do it periodically. If you want to be on camera or voice, please raise your hand. Like for example, Paul just declined to be a panelist. Paul, if you want to be on camera and voice, just accept it. Yeah, so sorry, I don't mean to harp on that, but I just see everybody misses it, so I want to repeat it as many times as possible. Okay, that's my spiel. Leave it to the coach now.
How's everybody doing?
awesome, man. Kicking butt.
Another great day.
Let's go.
Go Navy.
No.
Go
No.
Navy.
We
My dad was on the Nimitz.
I was on
That's
submarine.
awesome. I was on the Constellation for 4 years. So, back in the 80s. So
And my dad was in the 80s. He was the personal cook to the captain of the Nimitz. We spent a lot of time in Puget Sound.
yeah.
all you puddle jumpers.
Come on
Army,
now.
Army over here, sibling rivalry. I gotta pick the fight.
Okay, my uncle, his brother's army. I saw it all the time.
Yeah, it's all my dad, my grandfather were Navy. Can you imagine what that dinner's like?
Yeah, I have a son overseas in the Army and another one that already served overseas in the Army. So yeah, we have our days too. Army Navy football day is a big deal.
Hmm.
Yeah, that one can get that could get hairy. We don't even watch football, but we'll fight over it. All
We
right.
weren't a football family, but Army versus Navy was watched every year.
Yep. Do we want to start off with any questions in the chat while we got people here? And then we can go questions here, then we can go with anything we see within the Q&A on the app, and then we can dive into form checks. Ray's got his hand up. Hit me.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you had asked in the article today, you said something about what makes you beginner, intermediate, advanced, and I had to think about that as I went back, and I knew when this app started up that I would not consider myself a beginner. I had lifted weights. I'd been in the gym before. If I had to do it over again, I probably would have picked intermediate to begin with, just to kind of ease my way back into it, because I figured out I started as advanced and I stayed there, and I feel I'm there now, um, because I've gained a lot of knowledge over the
Mhm.
last couple of years. Things that I thought I knew how to do, like a deadlift, just bend over, pick it up. No, it's much more technical than that. A bench press, just lay down there and press it, So learning the technical aspect of it over the last couple of years and through these Zooms and videos in the workouts, I feel I've advanced to that level. But yeah, if I had to do it over again as somebody who had kind of lifted over my life, I would have started at intermediate, done the foundation, and maybe the first program or two after that, and then put myself in advanced.
Yeah. That's a really good point, because I actually had a really big discussion with Adam and Catch, because we viewed that differently, and I had to reconstruct how I viewed beginner, intermediate, and advanced for in the app, and what I viewed it as a general strength coach and athlete, because uh, I didn't we Catch her, correct me if I'm wrong, because I vaguely remember some of the key points, but I was looking at it as what you can do movement pattern wise without coaching was kind of my criteria at a fundamental level without coaching to minimal coaching. Is I was looking at it as how you move is how I categorized intermediate, beginner, advanced. And with this new program that catches on the tail end of, he had never done a real clean and press. So there was this conversation about being an advanced level, not knowing how to clean and press. And I was like, well, that's because you're not advanced. This is an advanced program. And I'm having to coach you through this program constantly because it's for advanced, and it's giving you a real gauge of where you're at in the intermediate level. So that's where I learned I had to reframe what was advanced for this ecosystem and what was advanced for the world I come from. Right. So I've also had to kind of learn that there's not one level of advance. It depends where you're at, right? So, you are far more advanced than when we started this months ago, these Zoom calls. Like, your squat technically looks experienced now.
Right. And again, that comes from the Zooms and from the experience here. I would not call myself advanced, like you said, even a year ago when it came to
Yep.
squats.
Yeah, so even I've had to kind of restructure as a coach to be more beneficial to you guys. What I viewed as advanced here. So, like, say I coach like a high level athlete in, one of my adaptives or whatever. I still have that frame of mind for them, and then I have how I coach you guys. And uh I would view a strength athlete as an advanced. We're not working on overall squat form. We're working on these fine-tune, very little things like, hey, you were out of your groove. Um, let's focus on uh dialing back 3% uh to where that's less common, and you go 10 out of 10 reps in your groove versus 7 out of 10 reps. It's like that high level of like, be fucking perfect.
Right. And there's a difference between the advanced, when you're talking about somebody who does it for a living, this is their
Yes,
life. There's a difference between
100%.
advanced and getting those fine tunes versus somebody who's just going to the gym as their what hobby or whatever you want to call it, and or just trying to be in general
Yep.
fit. Yeah. So yeah, advanced has a different meaning depending on the world you're in. That makes a whole lot of sense.
Yep. And now you can walk into any gym, get under any bar, and confidently squat at know where depth is. You know what that gauge looks like. You now have a much more advanced experience level understanding of what your squat needs to look like and how it feels when it's
Right.
moving.
Yep.
Cool. Thanks, Ray. Sandra, go ahead.
Okay. So I did leave this question somewhere. When you coached me on pull-ups a couple weeks ago, and I'm trying to get the depth, right? So as I'm doing the slow going downs, holding it at the bottom. My question: how far am I supposed to go in a pull-up all the way, like to a complete dead hang, or just before I get to a dead hang?
Do you have any sort of shoulder mobility injuries, anything restricting a full range of motion?
Well, I'm older than many of you. So
Okay, that doesn't mean
I'm
you can't
working
move
on
well.
shoulder. I'm working on shoulder. I'm working on wrists and everything. So
Can you can dead hang, right?
I can dead hang up to 40 seconds. If I'm not moving, I can dead hang.
Does it hurt?
No, other than I'm dead hanging. I mean,
So a full range of motion is here on a pull-up.
right.
Yeah. So how we initiate the bottom portion of the pull-up is we actually pull with our back. It's not arms and then back. It's
Okay.
back and then arms. So if we're only coming down to here, our back is still, we're not getting that elastic stretch reflex and re-engaging that back from a dead stop. It's just like
Right.
coming to dead stop on a deadlift
Right.
or a bench and so forth. So we do want a full range. You don't have to sit there and hang for a second. It's just you go down, extended, come back up.
Okay. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
you don't have to wait around and hang out at the bottom.
Just get there and pop back up. Well, as far as popping back up goes. Then related to that, Coach, regarding hanging leg raise, okay? When I'm doing them, like hanging wise, that hurts my shoulders as I'm moving my lower body. Now, if I hold my arms parallel to the floor and hold myself up and then do the hanging leg raises, does that count? Is
Yeah,
that
that's
good?
fine. That's
Okay.
fine. As long as you're getting the contraction and you're stabilizing with your core and upper body. I don't care if you're at a dead hang or if you're here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not really going to impact the main goal.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Ty, go ahead. Oh, where'd he go? He disappeared. Ty, you there, big guy?
Hi, you're
Am I
on
there?
mute. Okay.
Am I there now?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, as long as you can hear me, that's fine.
There we go.
So on the advanced intermediate beginner, like my thought is overall I might be intermediate, but it's like it depends on the lift for me, because some of them I have more confidence is kind of what I feel like. I'm like, yeah, I can do that one well, and I can do it within proper form versus not. So I don't know if that like helps or if that's kind of what you're gearing for on those answers.
Yeah. I mean, that's a real thing. Everybody has lifts that they're better at than others. Some things come more naturally to some people. I'm working with Noah right now. He's natural at overhead. I mean, his overhead is his push press and his push jerk. They look fantastic. We're struggling because of his hip mobility and a hip replacement, where squat and deadlift are proving to be more problematic just position wise. So he definitely is a higher skill level at one than he does the other two. And that is completely normal. But that doesn't mean you can't kind of meet in the middle, right? So if say like you're say between squat, bench, dead, and overhead, you're intermediate 3 out of 4. Run the intermediate level. That will catch up. Pay a little bit more attention to that weak link, but it will catch up. That's totally normal, especially when you're kind of really getting into the movement side of this. Most of the time, what I tell people is, and what I actually had this conversation with Catch is, I call these false gains. So when you learn a new movement pattern, You're not
Mhm.
the number that you're seeing rise up drastically isn't you getting stronger. What that number actually is your body figuring out a new motor skill.
Mm.
So you're actually getting better at the movement. Yes, you're getting stronger, but the amount you're getting stronger versus the amount you're getting better at moving is severely contrasted. So you have to
Yeah.
get through those beginner gains, if you will, or false gains, till you get to the point where you learn to move through the movement pattern, and then you'll notice those jumps get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then you're like, shit, I'm plateauing. No, you just hit a certain range of optimization within the movement. Now you're focusing on strength. Now you're grinding. Strength is a grind.
Yeah.
Learning a new movement
Okay.
pattern is fun.
Yeah. Okay. And then my other question was, I know most of our workouts, everything like that, are like full body type things. And unfortunately, yesterday I partially tore my Achilles
Oh shit.
in my leg. So I know I'm going to be having to take things easy. What recommendations would you have for like continuing to work everything else that's not broken while I rehab that piece of things?
Anything that doesn't load that Achilles tendon, because
Okay.
like a full tear is pretty catastrophic.
Yeah.
And you're consulting a physio, I'm assuming.
Yeah. He's been, he's telling me like that's why I'm out walking right now in a boot cast thing because he wants me to keep moving, but not
Yeah,
not
anything
just totally
seated,
stop.
um, that can vary. I don't
Okay.
want to tell you to do anything that goes against, but like anything that doesn't load that Achilles tendon. So obviously, like you could probably bench press to some extent, you could overhead to some extent, seated.
Okay.
Depending on how you set up a leg extension to get some quad work or a hamstring curl. But I want to be very cautious about those two because of how
Yeah.
your foot, when you strain, you might subconsciously strain with,
Yeah.
so
Flex that.
exactly. So,
Okay.
definitely anything lower body, consult with the physio because I don't know what your ranges of motion look like right now. I'm
Yeah.
not there physically to kind of assess.
Yeah.
But upper body, you can just do as much as you can seated, so you're not bearing weight or walking with weight. Curls, tricep extensions, overhead,
Okay.
bench. You should still continue to train in that sort of pattern. But anything
Okay.
lower, I would sit down with your physio and be like, hey, I don't want to completely atrophy from the waist down. Can we come up with a game plan on how to get some work into my lower body without compromising the recovery?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And that's kind of what I was wondering. Is like, should I do more things seated? Should I do stuff like that? So it takes that pressure off my lower body so I can keep doing upper body.
This is a very new injury, right?
Yeah, it's the second time I've done it, so I'm used to it. But yeah, it's fairly new, so I'm not really doing much right now. But when I get back to it, and
Yeah,
after talking to the doctor, everything like that, I want to make sure, like you said, I don't want to atrophy and lose stuff.
those first 2 weeks are really important not to compromise it in any sort of way, but they're also equally important to like not be stagnant.
Yeah, that's why he's told me, he's like, I don't want you on crutches, I don't want you on anything like that. You're in a boot and you're walking, and so
It sounds like you got a good physio.
Yeah, so okay, thanks.
Yes, sir. Jacob, go ahead, my man.
Yeah, hi. I want to discuss, I think for me, the difference between a beginner and an expert is something different. Because for me, it's not a question of movement, but for a question of mindset about how hungry you are for new information. Like a beginner, for me, it's often somebody who you have to talk or to show what information he needs, and an expert is really more hungry for more information about details, about different kinds of progress and so on. For me, it's not like if you are good in, because you can be really good in deadlifting or something and know a lot of things, but at the same time you can be a beginner in training about, you know, cardio or something. So for me, it's a little different, you know.
Yeah, I think that plays in. I think that's definitely a factor. You know, I'm surrounded, you know, my coach, I would definitely consider an expert. He cranks out, you know, high level athletes, but if he doesn't know an answer, he is really hungry to find it. With that being said, you know, I've coached a lot of beginners, you know, especially in person, and they're also super information hungry. Um, versus where their actual skill set is at. So I agree. I think that is 100% a factor because a lot of beginners, the difference between, I would say, kind of what you're saying is experts know what they know and know what they don't know, whereas beginners don't know what they don't know a lot of the
Yeah.
time is kind of another way to
Yeah.
word that. So I guess that's kind of where ignorance can be bliss a little bit. Um, so yeah, I think that absolutely kind of coincides with, you know, everything we've been saying. I think that's a good take and a really good thing to point out. So thank you.
Yeah. And I have a different question. I'm at the Maximize Your Strength program at the moment, and I started just phase 3, and there was a set where you deadlift only one rep, and then at the set only one rep. Is it like you would try to make this one rep with a PR or with a little bit less than a PR?
See, this is where I love percentages and effort guides. Catch, you've ran that, right? Is Catch in here? Typically, how long's your overall program you're running?
What again? Sorry.
How long is the overall program you're on currently? Like start to finish.
2 months or so. Yeah.
Okay, so you're on phase 3, which will put you in how far along?
Phase 3. It's the second set, I think.
Okay, so odds are you're not through the program to be testing in PR, so it's gonna be high effort. Like we're looking like 9.5 out of 10. You know, we want that rep in reserve. But we want that heavy single, get you acclimated to that heavy single. So the reason why you wouldn't necessarily maybe going for PR is because you're mid-program, you have a cumulative fatigue from all the training days. So a PR may not even be there, right? It may not even be a choice, but we're kind of seeing where you're at effort wise to then build on, because then you have a guide moving forward from that range. You go, okay, I know, and you might hit a PR even within that effort, right? You might be able to hit a PR at 9 out of 10 effort because you've gotten stronger. So that'll kind of reframe your weight selection moving forward from that point on. So that's something to think about, is if you're working up and you have, you know, you pull one, you've got one in the tank and you're like, man, that's more than I've ever pulled before. Stay there. That's the holy grail. To hit a in strength, to hit a PR and have weight on the table, holy grail. Like that's, it doesn't get any better than that. So when you're going for that heavy single, do you know roundabout where your one rep is or was?
Yeah, my PR was at 200 and I did 180 kilos.
Okay. Yeah, so you've and did you have like one in the tank? How'd that feel? How'd that look?
I think I could do a little more. I tried then 190, but in the second set, but it doesn't work then.
Okay. Yeah, so that would be that's a pretty good indicator that mid-program you're that close to PR territory. Odds are if you know, run this program fully to completion, take a little bit of a deload at the end for a couple days, and then test those movements, odds are you're going to hit a PR. So
Okay.
that's a good sign.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Pete, go ahead.
Hey, Nick, Coach, you opened a can of worms on your last Zoom call, and I'm wondering if you could, dive a little bit on all that speed work with the bands. And I did some Googling and saw the bands and then chains. And who doesn't love whips and chains? I mean, come on,
Yeah, absolutely.
So where does that fit into the other program? Is it even something that at, my current level, you don't even worry about? Is it like, the top tier stuff that, putting the cart before the horse sort of is?
That's a really good question. So speed work is much more applicable to a higher level because we've at that level we've learned the movement patterns, right? So this goes back on where I said like I base it on how well you move because if you're still figuring out a movement, we don't have to approach a lift from too much of a different angle because we're still optimizing on how you move the weight. So there's still room to drastically improve without even strength in the equation. So when we get to a point where strength is the main thing we have to focus on because you've hit a certain skill level on how you move, we need to create other ways of stimulation of getting stronger without just getting heavy. Because the stronger you get, the more it costs, right?
Right.
So, say you deadlift 400 2 years ago, and now you're deadlifting 600. That 1 rep max is going to cost you more than your 1 rep max 2 years ago did. So we have to figure out ways to get there versus just beating up against the wall, right? Up against that heavy weight all the time. So, bands and chains. So that is progressive resistance. So as you get higher in the rep to where we can all agree that as you ascend on a squat, once you get past that halfway point, it speeds up again. So the band tension increases. So really heavy band tension, you have to have a really explosive input to complete the rep. So it teaches you to accelerate the bar. So it creates a higher effort, just like tempo, pauses, and all that stuff, without the heavy overall load. I actually had banded squats, front squats Wednesday. And the reason being is I also had banded deadlifts because tomorrow I'm going to have heavy pulls. I'm going to have clusters. So between my overhead days, we had speed work that both carry over to deadlift and squat carrying over to my log clean and press and deadlift carrying over to my deadlift. So what those bands are essentially doing is teaching you to accelerate. And you'll hear me give that cue all the time. Because once we get heavy, if you're trying to move at a very stagnant speed, you're gonna fail your high end lifts. You're not gonna learn that more input, more input, more input, and try and speed up the bar. Essentially, when you're going for a high effort, max effort lift, you're putting the input to speed up the bar, even though it's not necessarily speeding up. So it's creating that you don't have power without speed, right? So how do we build power? We use speed reps. And chains are the same thing with bands. There's less weight at the bottom and there's more weight at the top. Band, same thing. And you'll actually see people do reverse bands. So they'll actually anchor the band up top and it'll give you assistance out of the bottom portion of the rep. So I had reverse banded stiff leg deadlifts. So the main focus wasn't my bottom. The main focus was my stalling point at or around the knee before I crest my kneecap. So my band tension dissipated at my knee and I had to accelerate from that point up to lockout, but it gave me some assistance off the floor. So we were able to keep a heavier weight on the bar from that point on. So because I typically start to accelerate there, so I was able to overload that point of the lift without the bottom portion of the lift costing too much. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a means to an end when we have to attack more intricate parts of the person's lift.
It's the finishing touches.
Yes, essentially. So like I think I mentioned this before, going into 2024, worlds. I had a 700-pound axle deadlift for reps. Now, an axle bar is 2 inches thick in diameter. It is the hardest deadlift variation because that diameter essentially creates more space between you and the bar. So the bar is more leverage. So your axle deadlift, when it comes to conventional pulls, will always be the hardest. Leading up to that, I didn't pull over 600 pounds in training. How was I able to build a 700-pound deadlift for reps with not even touching 100 pounds within that? Right? We use speed, we use tempo, we use isometrics, we use pauses, and that's how we build that power and those rep ranges to generate a really strong heavy pull.
Awesome. Good stuff, man. Thank you.
Cool.
And even though I'm in an advanced program right now, clearly I'm intermediate to beginner intermediate, and that's fine by me because it's learning stuff instead of just going out there and doing
That's
it.
the most people get bummed out when they're like, oh man, I'm not as advanced. I'm like, nah, that's like the most fun I've had doing strongman and lifting is when I was like, I didn't know shit because it was like boom, 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 new information, light bulb every week. And it's like just dopamine dump every single time. You're like, oh, I got it right. And now it's like, why the fuck can't I get it right? I get frustrated. Like there's at least one point a week where I want to chuck my belt across the gym because I'm like, I'm supposed to be good at this. And it's like flip-flop.
Yeah.
So I always tell people like you should be excited that you still have all that you're where you're at. And it's exciting to know that you have so much room to get better at it that your ceiling is even higher than you thought it was. Because that's essentially what that means is you have a higher ceiling than you thought you did.
You never really learn this thing. You just learn it a little bit more.
Pretty much. Gravity always wins.
Yeah. And then you learn a little bit more, and then a little bit more. So, awesome.
Yeah. The trick is how strong can you get and how injury free can you be? That's the name of the game. Longevity. And at this point, I've been very lucky, especially with the guidance I've had from coaching, nutritions, my physios, my sports massage therapists, that relatively in my sport, I've had a very minimal related amount of big injuries. I've only ever had a partial tear. I've had strains, I've had tweaks, I have existing nerve damage prior to strongman that I deal with that can be a real hindrance on my deadlift. But since I've been doing this professionally since 2017, I'm the only one that like there's a reason why I have the most consecutive finals appearances because I've been able to stay healthy and show up. And there's a real people want to get strong really, really fast. And especially in untested sports, they think I'm going to throw on the gear, the juice, and it's going to make me stronger faster. And even that's a mistake, right? Because that inherently by itself is supposed to help you recover faster. So if we pile that on, we pile the weight on, our joints and our tendons don't have time to catch up as well. Boom, injury, 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 injury. So it's the same thing. They try to rush this. They get frustrated and they try to go heavy all the time. Injury, 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 because the common denominating factor is recovery. So the more experienced you get, the more you realize how much recovery will dictate your progression.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Travis, go ahead.
These are great conversations. I think I kind of answered my question. I just finished intermediate. Before doing intermediate, I had done advanced. One thing that I found was like just like reducing the volume and stuff like that let me focus on form better. And I'm trying to figure out if going into the beginner is actually the right move. But here's the nuance is I was doing the versions with the weight loss. I've seen like I can see the body changing, so I'm getting stronger. I'm seeing like veins pop up and stuff, which I think means like the weight is coming or the fat loss is coming down.
Yeah.
And prior to this, I had been sort of hovering around 198 for quite a while and wanting to get down to about 190. Started doing the nutrition and the weight went up, which could be good. I mean, like that's probably like the
Yeah.
mass and I can feel this stuff. Should I is it the right combination maybe to try and lose some of this like belly stuff and the hip stuff on the hips and do the beginner or the intermediate? I'm not super sure. That's the one thing that I can't tell is how to align it with that goal of cutting a little bit more and then getting
That's going to
back
come
to
down to
strength.
nutrition. It's not going to come down to your training program.
Yeah. That's
So
okay. That's fair. But
so you
if you're eating
as of right
enough to
now, your body
sustain that,
composition's already changing.
yeah.
So there's a certain point where we have to ditch the goal weight with this
Okay.
when we have aesthetic goals and strength goals. So it can't be dictated by the scale anymore. If you're still leaning out, but you're getting bigger weight wise, it means you're trading fat for muscle. So the fat's still coming off, but the muscle's packing on. And that's a fantastic place to be. So what that means nutritionally for you is finding a balance where you're able to get stronger while maintaining a lean muscle mass. So that's going to come down to what you eat, right? If you and your macro balance. So you have your nutrients and your micronutrients. Your macronutrients are how you look, your micronutrients are how you feel, your brain chemistry. So your macros, your proteins, your carbs, your fats are all going to be the governing body of being shredded or not. And they're also going to be the governing body of how much gas you have in the tank. So protein is our most satiating macro, makes us feel the fullest. So to continue on this trend, what that means, and I'm nutshelling this,
Yeah.
consider myself a nutrition expert because I have a nutrition expert and I know what he knows and I know what I don't know. So you're going to need a high protein intake, right? So, and that's going to be our most satiating, make us feel the fullest for the longest amount of time, is that constant high protein intake. So our carbs and our fats are going to be our fuel. So your carbs are your quick burning energy, i.e. before workout. You want carbs pre-post. Those are the two typically most important time for carbs. Your fats are going to be your longer burning energy. Typically, there's a more of a lower carb balance on off days where your fat tends to be a little bit higher, your protein still stays high. Then your training days, your fat's lower, your carbs are higher. Things like that are very common to see in meal plans. So the trick to that is going to be making sure you're fueled, but not fat saturated. So, because we still want that fat to come out. But we still need our body to be fueled enough and burning calories. And, if we're overall trying to lose weight, we need to be in a deficit. Right. So, and that weight's overall weight. It's not just fat, right? Like if I'm trying to, I'm not necessarily, so like when I go into a weight cut to make my weight division, I'm not really losing muscle. I'm leaning out, but in a very expedited manner. It's not healthy. Over time, we need some sort of balance so that our body is continuing to be able to put on muscle, or at least maintain muscle and gain strength, depending on your goals. So, that's where like really diving deep into like nutrition and kind of, I don't know if you're following anything or you're just kind of eating intuitively, or what are you currently doing?
Currently doing like as soon as I started doing the abs nutrition. But prior to that, I had a nutritionist like 2 years ago. Learned how to sort of watch everything. My weight originally with this whole adventure started at 245, and so I've dropped quite a lot. And I got to a point about a year and a half ago where I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop calorie counting. I'm going to stop doing all this stuff. I'm going to see if I've just progressed naturally into like eating at a sustained level. So I got from 245 down to about like 198, 199. And so maybe all of the actual answer is I just had in my head that I had to get to 185. And then I've just like plateaued at this, but I'm feeling better.
Honestly, I would throw that number out because if you're getting the leaning out, but maintaining these gains muscularly and strength wise, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. This is
And
great.
then say you plateau for like a month, aesthetically, and you want to take pictures at the beginning of every month and the end of every month. So because we see ourselves every day, we might not see the short-term changes, even though those are happening. But you have take a picture in the mirror every start and end of each at the start of every month, basically. And you can look at them side by side and see like, yeah, this is going the right direction still.
Mhm.
Because the scale, man, when it comes to this type of stuff, you know, this isn't Weight Watchers anymore.
Yeah.
This is like changing body composition, and you look like, just what I can see now, you look like an in shape guy. So like using a scale as a reliance is honestly probably going to fuck you up. So you had the right gut feeling of like, I don't know if the scale is excuse me, where I need to be focusing. That you were
Yeah.
100% right in that intuitive thought you had. So um if you're trending in the direction that aligns with your goals, stick to that,
Okay.
and then adjust when that no longer is working. Hop on here, ask another question, let us know. We can guide you.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks.
Cool. Matt, go ahead.
All right. Squat question. So I have fairly decent range of motion. I can drop, nearly to my heels, with like a front dumbbell squat, but on a barbell, especially loaded, higher weights, the range of motion, like I can't get past, can't get down to depth, can't get down to the hole really. Um, so I'm wondering if there's like some general tips other than I would say, I think what you'd say is drop the weight and focus on form and build it back up. But is there anything else that would be advantageous to try?
Did you submit a video?
No, because I knew exactly what you would say and I hesitated.
Yeah.
So,
So to really dive deep on that, I need to see how you're moving. Um, because it could be something in how you're set up. It could be something, it could be weight, it could be, but it also could just be how you're set up. And maybe, some people setting up wider or narrower works against them or for them. It all just depends on your body, your proportions, that'll really allow me to uh, investigate fully what's going on. I would say, based off of what the information you give me. So the difference in not having a video and having a video, I like to use this analogy, is it's like you're asking me to give you a price quote on your car without your make and model.
right.
Like, I don't have the crucial pieces. Um, so I can only give you a best guess based on mileage. And knowing it's got a motor and four wheels. Um, with what you said, it could be a difference in the rack position and the position it puts you in that make it harder for you to get down there. And it sounds like you're comfortable with the dumbbells versus a barbell squat with a more substantial amount of weight. So it could be that you just need to fully commit to a barbell and start out with simply, you know, do 10 reps of just an empty bar with a nice slow eccentric, like 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, boom. And you're down there and you're like, okay, this is where depth, this is depth, this is what it feels like. Ingraining, because it is slightly different. Depending on how you hold the dumbbell, where you hold the barbell, um, there are changes that are made for one or the other. Um, so I strongly encourage you to, um, I think you need to commit to a barbell, get comfortable with it, build that confidence, and submit a video so we can really like get you off to a good start so you don't have a bad like relationship with it.
Copy. Thanks.
Yep. Anyone else? No, going once, going twice. All right, I'm gonna go in the app here. And see, I know there's questions in there. Um, Besides first set mindset, supposed to make sure we keep beginner hunger and don't develop yet. Oh, I think we talked about that. Of the complacency that come with experience. Yeah, I think Jacob and I touched on that. The complacency that can come with experience is Jacob had said the difference between beginners and experiences is that hunger for more information. And that's knowing what comes with experience. And the gentleman that asked this was, oh man, Jean-Louis Rebois Smith. Probably messed that one up. The difference that comes, the responsibility that comes with experience and is continuing to seek out that information and still being hungry for that information, because the more experience you get, the harder it is to the gains to come by. So you're going to need that constant search of information to diagnose and assess and how you can continue improving, because you may need different routes than you've ever needed before. John Hartley, if Coach Jen didn't get the videos earlier this week, will they roll over or should we re-upload? That's a Noah question.
Yeah, so all the ones that Jen got through, she moved to the past form checks folder. And so all the ones that she didn't get to are still in the folder for us to go through. So no need to re-upload in that case.
Okay.
Also, just while we're here, I know people have joined since I've said this last, so just gonna do it one more time. If you want to be on camera for form checks or have your mic on, so that's how you're asking questions, please raise your hand and I will add you as a panelist. Thank you. There's one. That's my next announcement. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, there was one regarding me and Miles. The gentleman in the picture is has been a friend since about sixth grade. He has cerebral palsy. And he also got into powerlifting through being my friend, and I coached him, and he was one of my earliest adaptive athletes. His name's Miles Taylor, also known as Smiles. And the gentleman asked, he has a shirt on that says DIS, and the DIS is crossed out ability. They asked about, need to know where to get those disability minus the DIS shirts. Two things, total transparency, the company that did them ripped him off. So we don't really associate with that brand anymore. They kind of went and made it like it was their own thing and still low key advertise it. And it was just a discrepancy of the funds. And me being not one shy for confrontation, I called him on it, and it burned the bridge. And they basically copyrighted it so that that logo is associated with their brand and not Miles, even though Miles developed it. I don't know the ins and outs, but that's why you don't really see us advertising that anymore the way we used to, is because the Miles was getting like 15% of that, and I thought it was catastrophic bullshit that they were taking advantage of him the way they were. So how you can support Miles, though, shameless plug on here, is he does graphic design, digital artwork, and he does fantastic work. He's done stuff for the Blue Angels. He's done all sorts of, he does stuff for tattoo shops. He's got artwork selling tattoo shops. So it's Smiles Taylor Artwork on Instagram, and he could probably make you something that you could get printed on a shirt. That is his full-time gig. That is his business. And he's a very talented photographer and graphic designer. That's how he got into this. He came to the gym to get some action shots for a graphic design class he was doing. And then I was doing Atlas stones, and I had him pick up a medicine ball, and that turned into him picking up a 50-pound Atlas stone. And then it escalated from there, and then he wanted to do a powerlifting competition. So that's the long and the short, very nutshelled version of that, to answer that Kevin Keeler's question. What else we got? Other people telling their own stories, and I usually go in after this and answer the ones I don't get to individually. Tell us about your supplements intake in a standard day. What and how much? From Christian GJENDM. I'm not even gonna attempt that. So the supplements that I take in a standard day is all based off of my nutrition coach and my blood work. Again, super fine-tuned. I have an anti-inflammatory stack with like turmeric and things like that. I have a sleep stack with a bunch of magnesium, L-theanine, melatonin, omega-3s, as well as, there are things that I take like peptides, for brain health and recovery. I could do an hour-long video on what and why I take. And what's good for the goose isn't necessarily good for the gander. I don't really want to go too much into it because it is tailored for me, and my blood work. So, I don't want to spend too much time on that because some of it might help, but some of it, doesn't necessarily make sense for everyone. So, that's where there's kind of a disconnect between, high level athlete function and like I deal with AFib, so a lot of my stuff is geared towards heart health. Someone might not need that sort of focus on their new supplement stack, but some really good staples are magnesium at night, L-theanine, melatonin, something between like I would say 5 to 8 grams or milligrams. I'm sorry. Ashwagandha is really good. Stress management supplement. Anti-inflammatory turmeric, garlic root, extract. What else I got over there? Your omega-3s for heart health. And krill oil is also an omega-3. I believe it's a little bit higher end. CoQ10, vitamin D is an important one, and that how much vitamin D you take can also be deducted from blood work. But yeah, that's without making that a mess of that question. That's that. Jacob, you got another question?
Yeah, for the supplements, I'm 41 now, and if does it changes what you take over the years? And is there something for older guys that you should take more or something?
You should get blood work done because what a lot of those that can be an intricate question, and here's why: is because as you get older, things pop up, right? Like, you're not getting a prostate exam in your 20s. It's things change as we get older. And I'm 32, so I haven't had one. I got the old poop shoot scoop when I joined the military, and that wasn't fun. So it's all gonna be mitigated. I can't emphasize this enough. Getting blood work is an incredible tool because it gives you a window into your operating system. It can tell you if you need vitamin B, vitamin D. It can tell you if your testosterone's low and you need to get on TRT. There's so much that can be gathered by getting that blood work done and having a professional, either an endocrinologist or nutritionist that understands blood work, to help guide you. I always urge people when we're talking about what we put in our body at a supplement level, chemicals, do it through someone that knows that stuff, because you can have too much or too little very easily. For example, I've been on 5,000 of vitamin D, and my recent blood work showed that we needed to double it. So, and I'd been on that dosage for the last year. So in that year, there was some sort of change, and we doubled my vitamin diet. Instead of 1, I take 2, to get me in more of an optimal level. What that chemical is on that they diagnosed that from, I have no clue. I don't read labs. I'm a monkey that lifts rocks, right? So I when it comes to that, I think just knowing having a base level understanding of the body, really paying attention to what you're doing recovery stack wise, your anti-inflammatories. And you can easily, go on Google and read forums from real nutritionists on those anti-inflammatory things, or you can hire someone to either continue with or guide you through that process till you get to a point where you're like, okay, I think I got a grasp on this. I'm ready to rock and roll. But yeah, your heart health, your inflammatory response, your stress levels, supplements that are geared around that are definitely things you want to pay attention to as you get older, for sure. Cool. Christian also had another question. Question about performance enhancing drugs. Do you experience some of your opponents use it in the competitions? If so, how big of an advantage do you estimate that they have? Yeah, it's strongman. It's a non-tested sport. Peds are used across the board. Is it an advantage? No, because it's a non-tested sport, so it's a baseline. Where they really become advantageous is your ability to recover. It's an advantage if you're using PEDs in a sport where it's illegal. That's cheating. That's no go. That's not okay. That is an advantage. But in a sport where there's no testing, it's not an advantage because the next guy's doing it. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, I've seen it be a disadvantage because people do too much of it. Less tends to be more with things like that. Guys get on TRT, and typically when you start, one of my training partners, he had in the 200s. He had really low test, and they started him on a super low dosage, and just that little bit, woke him up. Less is more with a lot of that stuff. So no, I don't see it as an advantage because strongman has 0 testing. It will never have testing. So it's fair game. Just like bodybuilding, you're not gonna find there's natural bodybuilding for a reason, and then there's bodybuilding, because they have very different results. It's not really a question. Nothing really stands out from an audience standpoint. Things that I'll just go in and answer individually. So with that being said, I think we can get
Go
into the
for
fluid
it.
test. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. 1 sec. Make sure I'm ready to go here. Got a lot of them today, so I'm just sorry. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Cool.
Don Thomas deadlift, angle 1 and 2.
Yep. All right. Play button is of course hidden by the annotate button. Use this. All right. Here we go.
Looks like he's out front from this angle, and he's not locking out. Hips are still behind him, knees are soft. Squeeze your butts. That one looked better. Hips got a little bit further through. It's just a hard angle to tell some of those things. But I like the foot width. I like how his arms are coming right down the outside of his knees. I don't want to see that squirming at the top. When you get set, you pull, you come down. We don't want instability in that in the lockout of the rep. I'm guessing he submitted another angle.
Yeah, I submitted one from this front so you could see my feet, and then I have another one that's just from the side.
Okay, cool. Let's check out the side. There we go. So I want you to really accelerate your hips coming through. Literally try and snap the bar in half with your pelvis. Because as you get heavier, that nice slow finish, your form looks overall is good. Your hips aren't shooting up when you start to pull. I can see you setting your back. You do a lot right. So once you start motion, I want you to accelerate the bar the entire time. So it breaks and accelerate. So how to accelerate those hips through a deadlift? Basically, your hips are sliding back and forth, loosely. You see how soft your hips come through? I want you to slam your ass cheeks together and bring those hips through with pure hatred.
So the conclusion of as I reach that pinnacle, I really need to be accelerating, be faster.
Yes, because as you get heavier, that slow will turn into stagnation.
Okay.
So when you get up to like a 9.9 out of 10 effort, 10 out of 10 effort, that's going to make the top half of your deadlift much, much harder when you ingrain that acceleration input and build that momentum.
Okay. Because I know in the previous video I sent you, the issue was my feet.
Yeah.
Right. You said I had Brian Shaw feet.
Yes. And the first thing I said was his foot width looks great.
So that's
it's hard to remember all the correction, but you gave me that, you flipped the switch for me. I do remember, which makes sense why your foot width looks great.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's easy. I can work on that.
Yeah, not a lot to fix here, man. You did a good job.
I'm technically not allowed to go heavier than what I've got either because I'm still in PT. The doctor was like, "You want a deadlift?" I said, "Yeah." And they were like, "Well, what's your max?" And I was like, "I can do about 230." And she goes, "Don't get anywhere close to that."
What are you in PT for?
So I have bowed knees and there's some ligament issues.
Okay.
That have created some pain. And so they're like, just work on flexibility, get a lot of the stretching to loosen the load on those ligaments.
And this is a standard PT, not a sports PT.
Correct.
See, this is the difference between a sports PT and a standard PT, and why when it comes to wanting to lift and have goals in the gym, why I tell people to go the sports PT route. Because I will always tell you, listen to the doctor, but doctors are not as, and I hate that this is the case, they're not as well versed in movement as they should be. And that's why I always tell people to find out a sports physio intentionally, because there's just a better understanding for dynamic movement versus because a regular doctor looks at it from general population average. Don't do this could hurt you, right? And while for most people that aren't doing this type of stuff is true, but the shoe doesn't necessarily always fit for people that have an active lifestyle. Your tendons are stronger, your bone density is thicker, your muscle density is thicker, you recover faster. Those are all real factors that need to be equated when it comes to treating someone who lifts weights regularly. So I'm not saying your doctor's wrong. I'm saying that there might be a better physio for you, and having you turning and burning in a much more in a way that makes much more sense.
Okay.
But these are great, man. Good job.
Thank you.
Dippy in. Overall, these are decent. As you push, I want you to, I call this opening the window. So as the bar's coming up, that's you opening the window. When you open the window, punch your head through. Press that bar towards the center of your head. Because anything at the forehead or front is typically going to make you fall out front. The clean, it's a hang clean. You could definitely probably get more weight out of this, just learning how to clean a little bit better. But this isn't bad for not having any formal clean and press training. You're doing a great job. I want to make that known. Basically, to get more out of that hang clean, you'd kind of want to start like the top portion of your deadlift, as if you're only deadlifting down to above your knees. You're going to want to push your butt back with a little bit more minimum leg bend. So as your hips come through, you fire up and you get much more momentum and you get your hamstrings and glutes into that raise, but you keep your back position the same, that nice erect tight back position. And what you're doing on the way down, catching it here instead of coming straight down, is a very good thing. But these aren't, I don't really have a problem with these. There's more there.
Right. No, I basically wanted to put this up because I always have a problem with the seated ones because of the neutral grip. So it becomes very difficult to clean at a neutral grip. So this sort of seems a little easier. At the top portion of the clean, right? I am coming mid-chest. Is that okay? Because I just paused my video to see how much am I squeezing my traps.
Where you're landing's fine for a strict press. And there's a difference in rack position in a push press with leg drive and a strict press. So where you're landing with the strict press, that bar is directly over your elbows, which is what we want. Your rack position on a strict press is here, right? On a push press, you're here in a front squat position. So when you dip and drive, your leg drive goes right into the bar and you throw it and you press it out. So where you're catching it for a strict press, fine.
And you're saying that I should sort of start from a deadlift position. So basically, very similar to a Romanian deadlift. I bring the bar down.
Yeah, no,
and then
you
I
want
lift
to
from
come up off the floor. You can come out of the rack like you did, but you kind of slowly you push your butt back like an RDL, like you're gonna RDL it, and then you pop up from there. You explode, and you don't go around. You come up your body, but you're getting your glutes and you're getting more into it, so you can clean more weight.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sarah, good job. Next. Okay. So the bar is on a track here. I want to make that known, which it isn't end of the world, but it does it changes things slightly. So as you're coming down, basically what's happening is you're getting restricted by your feet being too far behind you. So you would actually almost need to take a half step forward so your butt can come back. You want to initiate that squat by hinging at the hips first and then descending. So your butt slides back and then you come down. you're kind of very perfectly stacked. I'd like to see your foot width. So you can get deeper. I think just the way you're moving is your biggest restriction on depth. Because to get deeper, your knees would have to go so far past your toes. It turned into almost like a hack squat. So you might have to take that half step forward so you can really kind of sit back. And that's the downside to squatting within a track. But overall, your posture from the hips up, everything looks good. It looks like you're braced. There's a lot going right here. We just need to get you down lower.
Cool, thanks.
Yep. It could be a matter of getting you a little bit wider 2 foot width. I couldn't see from that angle. I mean, these are pretty good. I'd like to see a little bit longer of a range of motion. So we're getting a big lat squeeze out of the hole, big scapular retraction.
Okay. All right, awesome. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier. So thank you.
Yeah, you're like 90% there.
Okay, good to know. Good to
Yeah.
know. Keep working on it. Appreciate you.
Good job. Oh God, don't pull from there. Please don't pull from there. Yep, you pulled from there. Okay. So you were way out front. Yeah, see how your shoulders behind the bar, you're super toe heavy. Yeah, so basically, you're trying to squat a deadlift. And it is severely limiting you. You have a strong brace because you're not really folding in the midsection too bad, which is a really, really good sign. But what you want to do is bring that bar up against your shins. Let your butt come up, your knees suck back. So it puts you in a deadlift position and not so much a squat position. So yeah, the bar is literally having to go around your knees. So we want a nice straight bar path. So bring your butt up. We'll put your shoulders over the bar. In turn, it'll bring your knees back. And then you bring that bar right up against your shins. So you are immediately pushing the ground away, and that bar path doesn't stay the same. Your hips travel to the bar. The way you're lifting it now, you're making whatever weights on the bar probably feel about 50 pounds heavier with it being out front. And that's just a game of leverage. So you brace well, you move well. We just need to get you in the right position. That's all.
Thank you. First time with a barbell, actually. So thank you for the time.
Yeah, I've seen way worse starts. So it's just a matter of getting you your posture and everything. You set up well. We just need to get you set up in the right spot. Next. Christmas lights in the gym. Nice. Setting the ambiance. These are good. Sarah, these are awesome. I've got nothing for you here. You've got a good squeeze at the top. You've got a nice controlled eccentric. The range of motion seems good. You've got literally a full range of motion here. A lot of people run into that with depending on the attachment. These are great. I don't want to change anything you're doing here.
Wait, thank you.
Yeah, good job. Put some weight on the bar.
Well, I did the next one, but that one I just wanted to make sure I was doing it right, and I got a funky setup. So
that looks like a pretty. What were you using for a handle?
A strap and then like a short bar.
Making it work.
Yeah, making it work in the dungeon.
Love it.
Yeah. Thanks.
Bring your butt up. Yep, it came up anyway because it needed to. See, going around your knees. Same thing I told the gentleman earlier. We need to bring your butt up so your knees suck back and you're not traveling around your knees. We get a straight bar path. You've got a decent brace. You're not really folding. You've got a lot going right. We just need to get it all in position. So higher hips. If you notice on your pulls how your hips kick up and then it pitches you forward, your knees suck back, the weight's out front. So almost identical to the gentleman earlier. So it's going to be the same set of cues. Bring your butt up, suck your knees back, keep the bar close, push the ground away. Next. Incline and flat bench. Whoa, what happened? Like glitched. There we go. All right, so you're pressing slightly away from you. So we want to go down to your chest line and drive back towards your face. And you see how you're pushing your butt up in the air? We want to leg drive up the bench laterally. You're not going to slide. And if you do, wrap a band, like wide bands, around the bench long ways, and that'll add grip. Your bench isn't bad. It's a very common problem. You actually want to drive towards your face, and you'll feel that bar speed increase almost immediately when you get the right bar path. Pressing especially because your upper body, you're not as massive of a muscle group as your posterior chain and legs. So when you get out of groove, it has more of an impact per se at a lighter weight. So you're going to see he's going to come down to his nipple line. It's going to be a little shallow. Like the first rep looked good, but he's pressing kind of, it feels like straight up. It's almost like an illusion with bench. It feels like you're pressing completely vertically, but if you look at his wrist line from his shoulders, his wrists are below his shoulders towards his hips. So we actually want to press towards our face. Next. What you doing over there, Noah? So he's pressing towards his face. You see how it looks like he's coming up at an incline, but that's actually the bar path we want in a bench. It's putting it over our chest and our delts. This is a great job. And he's got great range of motion. He's getting deep. I can't get that deep. These are great. I have nothing to say here. Maybe don't flare as much at the bottom. Kind of stay a little bit, lean more towards this direction. But your bar path with the dumbbells are fantastic. Next. Incline. Incline is going to be very same mechanics to flat bench, just a different angle. Leg drive's the same. Your position underneath the bar should be the same. Your bar path should have the same intent. If you look again, his wrists are slightly outward from his shoulder. So we want to drive more towards our face again. I would say slow this down and try and hit the full range of motion unless you have some sort of shoulder mobility issue. And get that bar path where it needs to be. Because you'll see a significant increase in bar speed from that. Next. These are pretty good. It's a little shallow. That's the main thing. That's not a big fix. I'd I'd like to see next week or your next submission a comparison from the front or the back as well, so I could see your foot width. Because that could be a restrictor on depth. Maybe elevate your heels a little bit. It might feel a little bit easier to get down there. The speed at which you're moving this bar, I don't think this is a weight issue. He's very in control here, boom, and accelerates from that point up. So there's no reason why he can't drop another 2 inches, 3 inches, whatever.
Hi, Nic.
Hey, what's going on, man?
All good. Yeah, it's I just not going so deep because I have a meniscus issue in my right knee.
Okay. That's need to know information. Do you feel pain in your squats?
No, not in the squats, no. But I'm afraid to go in that low. That the meniscus start to work harder against each other, and then yeah.
So if you squat with body weight, no weight on the bar, do you have any trouble getting down deeper?
No.
Okay. So I would say, because here's the thing, how we also strengthen tendons is by working them, but it's also how we hurt tendons, right? So I think to build some confidence, you should work up to your working weight in your warm-up sets with a full range of motion while it's light and manageable. Because a big part of with that issue is fear, right? So we're combating. I know with my back, I know when I start getting up in like 90%, I'm like, there's a real possibility I could piss this nerve off, even with good form. So I have to get over that when I go and compete and be like, it doesn't fucking matter right now. I've got to send it. So there's a big mental side to what you're gonna have to do to potentially improve that meniscus. Did you have any sort of physio or anybody tell you not to do anything or anything of that nature?
No, I did physio. It helped. But then the doctor told me that if I was practicing football, for instance, then I should get a surgery.
Okay, so are you doing football now?
Nope.
Okay.
That's why I also didn't get the surgery.
So you have no one telling you you have any sort of restriction on your squat depth?
No.
Range of motion? Okay, so you're basically guarding out of preference.
Yes, you can say that, yeah.
Okay, so then I think that's what we should do. I think we should start your workout with some banded TKEs. Look up what those are. Get a nice quad heavy knee pump in there. 20 each side or as needed to get a pump, not fatigue out. Start with some banded TKEs. Start with pause split squats, just going down, pausing, holding at depth. 3 sets of 5 each side with a 5 count hold at the bottom after the banded TKEs. Then I want you to go into full range of motion body weight squats. And you can start out, if it helps you peace of mind, hold on to the rack. If you have any sort of fear doing there, I just need you to show yourself that you can, and it doesn't hurt. So after that, load a bar on, run through some full range of motion squats, get comfortable with it again, get confident with it again. Load on your first, weight onto the bar. Again, do a couple there. Build up over time that confidence. We don't need to rush right into it. I need you to be confident and comfortable. So when you do get to that higher effort stuff, you're full steam ahead. You're confident, you know where to be, you know what to listen to your body. If you have any pain, back off, shallow out, whatever you need to do to mitigate that risk. But I think for now we need to build up some confidence in your body again. How far post tear are you?
No idea.
You don't know when you did it?
No, because I I started feeling once while running for the train, and then my knee kind of swollen, and then I started with physio, and I never stopped moving, but basically, and yeah. But then I'm still scared of
When did it
breaking
get that?
breaking
How
it
long
more.
ago did it get diagnosed?
A couple of months ago.
Okay. So you've had, yeah. Okay. So you've had some plenty of time for recovery and healing. So what I
Indeed.
would say with that is if it's peace of mind, go see a sports physio, get another assessment done, get another
Mm.
evaluation. Um, if that's what you need to hear, what you need to see to get, because they can take you through range of motion, torsion assessments, all sorts of things to kind of see where your tendon's actually at. I can't manipulate you here. I can't run you through. I don't have all the time in the world, but I think that could be a really good peace of mind piece for you to get that assessment. And if there is still a significant amount of damage, they can give you a list of do nots.
Yeah.
So, and there's peace of mind in that. You can move, you can sleep at night with that information.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much.
Of course. Like to see you narrow your stance up slightly. Are these SDLs or RDLs? No, did it have like a caption? Okay. From the front, it looks pretty good. It looks like an RDL. My only input from the front would be bring your feet in like, I mean, half an inch on either side. So your arms are right on the sides of your legs versus in front. Because we do want to utilize your arm length. Next. I'd like to see that from the side, if possible. Kickstand SDLs. These are good. What I want people to see is how front foot heavy he is. That's the trick. We don't want to the kickstand shouldn't be very load bearing. He's really pushing back with that hip. And his range of motion stops where his mobility stops. So you actually have a very comparable. That's kind of where I land with SDLs. Some people can get all the way to the floor, and I hate your guts. I'm jealous.
Hi, Nick. Nick, it's Benoit. I have a question. Is the kickstand foot only for balance or?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. It's only there to. It should only be loaded with a couple pounds of weight per se, if that translates. So it's
Okay.
only really there. You shouldn't really be doing much driving with it. And you can see that straight leg, you can see it working. He's doing a little bit of guiding with that off leg, but you can really see that straight leg fighting to maintain position, which means he's doing a really good job at keeping it loaded. So you can see towards his later reps, you can see that kind of back leg kind of twist. He's getting close to fatigue failure. So the back leg's kind of picking up some slack. It happens. It's okay. I'm not going to bash him for it. Because it's how these can go. But we definitely want to be front leg heavy, and the only role we want that back leg doing is to kind of just stabilize us. So these are a good job, man. I like your position here. So run with it. Next. These are great. Andreas, awesome job. You're at depth. You're burying these. Your posture, your brace, everything is holding. Fantastic job on the corrections, man. Your squat looks great now. Good job. All right, the deadlift. I know that was the problem child for you getting in position. So these are looking better. We're not quite there yet, but they're looking much better. I really want you to work on. You see how at the bottom of the rep, don't bend that supinated arm. The arm that's holding it underhand, we do not want to bend that arm because that is a quick way to tear a bicep. Straight arms, especially as you get heavier. You see how as you approach the bottom portion, you stop descending and that lower back actually just folds. Your brace folds to that bottom set. So what I want you to do is you keep going down. I want you to keep pushing your butt back. So to initiate that, I want you to keep think about pushing your chest and your butt apart. Push it, and that should protrude your belly button to the floor. So it exaggerates it a little bit. And think about descending with your legs versus folding over. So once you get right about there, that's when your fold stops and you continue to descend with your legs. And then there's your position. Gravity puts you in position. But again, these are getting better, Andreas. You're making good progress. Next. Okay. So your ascent looks good. We need to get your back more neutral. So same cues I just gave Andreas. They apply here. On your way down, you're stopping and then you're folding versus continuing down all in one pattern. So those are really that's really it. The same cues I just gave Andreas with hip position and everything and back position are almost identical to what you need to do. It's a very common thing. So you see how your leg drive finishes. Boom, leg drive's done. Now you've got to basically lean back with it. So when we get into position, that all happens at once. It's like your body's extending, so your hips just glide through. Versus this is what I call kind of two-piecing it. And you see how you had to come down and around because you stopped and then folded. So it's basically the reverse process. Your leg drive comes up, you stand up, then your leg drive bends, then you fold. We want to make that all one motion up and down. Think about, pushing your chest and your hips apart, getting that belly button kind of pushed out towards the bar, and snapping that bar so we set our upper back. That's how we keep our chest out with our back. Next.
Going here for a touch wider.
Okay. That looks good. You shallow it out on that one.
Yeah. This is like the fourth set.
Yeah, I can't really tell depth from here, but the width makes your squat motion look much more natural. Your knees aren't folding really. Everything's where it needs to be. I would like to see this from the side. That one looks a little shallow. but I think our feet are in a position now where we can go to work.
Okay, cool.
Good job.
Okay. Okay, cool. Good.
All right, Elise. Runs over. Moving with a purpose. Good. Go heavier.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
You're throwing these around like they're nothing.
I know it's because I have COVID and I'm just like, I'm totally wiped. So normally I'm heavier. I just wanted to get the
You just
make
want
sure
to
I was doing the form right.
yeah, nah, your form's great. You just literally my only feedback to you on that is move some weight. You're ready to move some weight. You were playing with those.
Yeah,
Good job.
thanks.
Even when COVID, you're stronger than you think. These are good.
So my question is like, how far down do I go? And then I get more of a chest squeeze if my arms are not completely straight. But when I look at the
Yeah, you don't
tutorial,
want straight arms. You want to imagine like you're hugging a barrel and
oh, okay.
your arms are locked in that position. Some people get more of a chest squeeze when at the top they extend, or even like when I do flies, I'll actually kind of rotate my palms slightly to each other, like
Okay.
this, just a little bit, not completely, but like just a little bit, and I return to that position. So the depth is gonna, I mean, your depth looks fine. You don't want to go to a point where it hurts. So
All right.
depth is, as long as your bicep is at or slightly below parallel with these, is a pretty good gauge of a range of motion. Basically, so your elbows are kind of just below your chest line.
Okay.
That's all we're really looking for.
All right.
Um,
I get nothing if my arms are straight at the top. I almost
yeah,
feel like it's a resting position. So
yeah, and that's not the end of the world. Because where we're really getting the benefit is from the concentric and the eccentric, right? Yeah, you can squeeze at the top. Think about like literally forcing them together at the
right.
top. Um,
But being bent is okay.
yeah,
Like
yeah, it's
taking
totally
it.
fine.
All right.
The only thing to be careful of, you see how your fists are you're here versus kind of over your elbow. That's
No,
the only thing we have to be careful of is this. So, because what that'll do is create more shoulder torsion. So if we get here, then we're supported and everything's in line.
I'm sorry. Can you explain that again? I'm not sure I understand.
So if you look at where your fist is in relation to your elbow at the
Yes.
bottom.
Yes.
So your fist is actually, so if I'm you and I'm down at the bottom, my fist is actually behind my elbow, my shoulder.
Oh, I see.
Here,
Yeah.
it can create more shoulder torsion,
Okay.
which is what we want to avoid. It's not bad. I'm being picky because you do everything so well. That would be the only really thing form wise for you to be mindful of. Everything else you're doing great.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't kill me, Nick.
Awesome. Boom. Look at that brace. Sets everything, locks everything, gets his brace, gets his air, sets his lats, sets his back all at once. That's what bracing is supposed to look like. Pushes the ground away. You sat back a little too far.
Yeah,
That's okay. Yep.
I noticed that. I saw yesterday.
Yeah, that's really it. Everything else, man, is phenomenal. That was
All right, cool.
beautiful, beautiful setup. Oh, you just kind of sat back a little too far on a couple of those, and
Yeah, I think I was kind of tired.
yeah, and that happens. But you got so much right. I am over the moon with how these look.
All right, sweet.
Well done.
All right, thank you.
Incline dumbbell bench. Good. Press towards her face. Nice job. Yep, keep those shoulders underneath you. Amelie, I love these. I've got nothing for you, ma'am. You're crushing these. Well done. All right. A lot going on here. I'm going to go out on a limb and say a barbell squat is fairly new. All right. So we're going to need to get maybe slightly wider. And you see how we're going to do this from the bottom up. So we want to take our feet out slightly wider. We want to drive our knees out over our toes. Say your knees are going forward and almost coming together. So we need to get our from the hips down in a position where we can drive efficiently. So think about like if the Eiffel Tower, had two dents in its base and was folding in, it wouldn't be able to support the same amount of weight. So we want to get our knees kind of out towards over our toes to create that nice, wide, strong foundation, to put ourselves in a position where the power train can go from glutes and hips into your quads and hamstrings down into your foot in a nice direct route. Second, getting down to depth. You see how your butt stops and you start to fold. So your depth actually isn't getting any deeper. You're just now doing a bent leg good morning. So what I recommend is potentially switching to a goblet squat for a week or two and getting comfortable with the squat motion, keeping that chest proud, sitting between our heels, breaking at the hips, sitting down, and getting used to that movement as a whole. And then you can use an empty bar, PVC pipe, whatever, and get used to being in this position, keeping that chest proud and not folding, and really focusing on that core brace so it prevents us from folding as much. And even when you're folding, you're not really going into flexion, which means you're tight. There is tension there, and that's a good sign. There's nothing here. Yeah, your knee's traveling really far from that angle. There's nothing here that is catastrophic, can't be fixed. I think you need to get comfortable with the squat position and the movement. And this is exciting because the way you're moving means unfamiliar. It doesn't mean bad at squatting. So let's switch to like a goblet squat with a manageable amount of weight. You can even use the plates because they got the handles, and you can really sit back to your heels and get that butt behind you. So let's start there. I would like to see a submission from you next week. And I want it to be a goblet squat. I want to see you getting lower and sitting more to your heels, initiating your squat by breaking at the hips, sitting down between your heels and keeping that chest proud. And having that goblet squat form will give you better feedback because if you go forward, you're going to lose the weight most likely. So it'll force you to kind of be in that upright position. So let's start there and then build you to a bar. Because I don't see this being, I don't think there's no reason why you can't squat this weight. It's just a matter of getting comfortable. Next. This is what I mean. Some people, there's certain lifts where they just don't, is much harder for their body to figure out. Her deadlift, naturally, she's doing a lot of thinking here, but naturally her deadlift looks much more complete, right? So this is all this is probably going to be her thing. Her deadlift's probably going to progress the fastest. So a few quick changes. Get that bar close. Bring your butt up just a hair and drive from there. Those are the first two changes I want you to make. Remember that same cue of the brace I gave you, but those are the only two changes. Bring the butt up, your knees will come back, bring that bar in close, because when you broke, that bar swung back to you. So the bar actually has to travel back and then up versus up. We only want up. So just two main things, bring your butt up so your knees come back, bar's able to come right up against your shins, push the ground away. And really focusing on that brace. So your deadlift naturally you want a deadlift. You've got those nice long arms. Let's put you in a position where it is much more advantageous. So again, this you can keep the same weight on the bar. You're moving this fine. The strength is not the issue. It's just knowing where to be. Next. High pulls. Nice. Good. So these are supposed to be an explosive movement. So I like these. There's nothing really wrong about these. There's some variations with variances that are, or tolerances within a high pull that are totally okay. He's kind of doing it how an Olympic lifter would do it. So, which isn't a bad thing. Olympic lifters, so the difference, what I mean by that, a power lifter, you'll see a high pull either in a sumo stance or they don't actually come up as high because they don't have to clean anything. Olympic lifter, the way he's doing it and coming back is the brief point of making the bar float before they catch it. So there's nothing wrong with this high pull. He just instinctively does it like an Olympic lifter. And I believe that was one of the first implementations of the high pull. No problem with this. I like how it's moving explosively. It floats for a second. That means he's got good speed, good power. I'm good with this. Good job, man.
Is there no need to slow it down on the way coming down? That'd be my only question then.
You can. Dude, I'll tell you this. When I do them heavy, when I do them like, I'll do high pulls with like close to 300. And I don't even try and catch it. I come up, and as I guide it down, I let go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just, after it hits about right before I would arrest it, I just let it go.
You mean let it hit the ground, right? You
Yeah.
just dropping
Yeah.
it.
So you look completely in control. So I'm okay with you arresting it. You're not putting yourself in I don't see you folding as you're catching it. But as you get heavier, you've got great explosive power here. As you get heavier, so right there, right as it comes down to your hips before you completely arrest it, is when I let it go. And then I also do my high pulls from the floor. So versus you doing the hang high pull, having to bend over, pick it up, then do it again. Hang high pulls are naturally going to be lighter. So the way you're doing it, even to slowing it down, I'm totally okay with.
Okay. All right.
Some people have go ahead. Was there a question?
Yeah, so I have a question on that. On the high pulls, I do barbell and dumbbell in the program I'm in. I don't come up on my toes. I kind of start just above my knees, kind of what he is, but I just kind of explosively pull up, but I don't actually kind of jump up on my toes. Should I be doing that to get the full effect?
Yes. So what he's doing is called triple extension.
Okay.
The input I want you to do is basically trying to jump as high as you can.
Okay.
With this. So triple extension is a big part of the high pull. See how when he comes up on his toes, his hips come through and his
Yeah.
chest is almost slightly behind his hips. That
Okay.
is great triple extension. That is what I want to see.
That is huge help. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Power generation. I love explosive movements. I also thought I saw a pretty sweet old VW Beetle in the background.
Yeah, you got that right.
Yeah, that's sick.
One of the first pictures you posted, you were carrying an entire
Oh,
frame of mine.
yeah.
It's like, I need to use mine for that, right?
These are great, man. Look at that. Full range of motion. A nice deep row. Yeah. Notice how he's not like jerking it. He's all in that strength work, man. It's just steady. That's all torque. These are great, man. If I were to give a PowerPoint presentation on a heavy, overhead row with that handle, I love these. You're moving your head around the bar or handle or implement, um, and not moving it around your body. So that's fantastic. Good job. Nice big stretch, nice big squeeze. This is great. Next. These look so much better. He's locking out. Boom. Hips come through. No more soft knees. Hips aren't shooting up out of the hole. Well done. Now, this gentleman, this was like a 4-week progression to get here. So that's why I'm so excited about this is uh we went from his lockouts were soft, his hips weren't coming all the way through. Lockout on the deadlift is his shoulders, hips, knees stacked on each other. His hips were slightly behind him, his knees were soft, his shoulders were in front of his hips, and his starting position is his butt was kind of shooting up. And now like his leg drive is immediate, the lockout's hard, his hips are accelerating to the bar. He has made all the right adjustments, and I love this pull. Well done. Let's see how it looks from the side. These are high effort pulls. So you see his brace starting to break down a little bit, but I'm not super focused on that because we are at a higher effort, and that's very common. And it's not a detrimental flexion. So as you get good at lifting, you will, or a higher degree of effort at a higher level, you'll see backs rounded. Like if any of you watch me compete at the end of November, you're going to see me go into all sorts of flexion on my last 2 pulls. But that's the time and place for it. You won't see me do that in training. So these higher effort, that little bit of flexion, he's bracing. You can see that head pressure. He's bracing hard into his stomach, bracing against that belt. These pulls have completely transformed. And I'm okay with that little bit of flexion. So the only thing I'm seeing from the side that I couldn't see from the front is you see how he almost, we call this ramping. And this is a very, very, I'm being picky, so don't beat yourself up over this. Before his legs and hips start coming through, he starts coming back and he starts ramping the bar up his thigh before he gets straight. So in a powerlifting, it's called hitching or ramping, and it is what can get you like no rep. A gym lift, I have no problem with it. And this is very minor. Versus what it would be to correct that would be finishing the leg drive and slamming your hips through. being a little bit more patient versus sitting back and pulling back towards your ass. It's just more to amplify your hips coming through versus pulling backward with it. With that being said, I'm over the moon with what his deadlift looks like now compared to what it was 4 weeks ago. So that's a deadlift, baby. Let's party. Next. These look good. Nice deep stretch going overhead. I have no issue with these whatsoever. These look pretty good, pretty sound. She doesn't have too much of a bend in her arms. She's staying pretty long. So all the right things. She gets a nice good extension here. Good job. Maybe bring your hips up slightly, just a little bit, so you're flat. But other than that, or closer to flat, you don't have to be flat. And sliding more towards the, but you still, there's like a sweet spot, so your shoulders can clear and rotate and not too supported. So if she didn't change anything, I wouldn't mind. I'm happy with these. Next. Dumbbell goblet squats. Good. These are great. I'd push weight a little bit on these. You've got great speed coming up, man. These look like speed reps. Next. Good. See how I set that back? You're a little bit forward. You need to get you kind of back. You see how your shoulders are past the barbell slightly? Get you just to sit back like a half inch. And what you can do for that is honestly get a slight more bend in your knee. Just slight, it's going to bring your butt down the tiniest bit, but that's okay. Because when that butt drops, you'll be able to get a little bit more of that cat-cow position where you push your butt and chest away from each other to neutralize that back. So it's a very subtle adjustment that can have it can make your leverage a little bit better. But overall, this is decent, man. Room to improve, but you're not in a bad spot at all.
So a little farther back and a little bit farther down.
God, you're from Boston, aren't you?
Yes. Outside of Boston. Yeah.
To stuff my face with some Pepperidge Farms. Yes, pretty much. In a nutshell. Yeah, we want to drop your hips a little bit so we can sit back a little bit more, and it should put you in a better position to neutralize. What you did really well was you snapped that bar. So when you do that, that's when you want to set your hips and the rest of your body into that cat-cow cue I've been giving. So think about pushing your chest. If this is your hips, this is your chest. You're pushing your chest and your hips away from each other so that you get a nice neutral back line.
Okay.
And that should suck your shoulders back so they're over the bar and you have a nice straight bar path.
Okay. So kind of just elongate and go from there. Okay.
In a nutshell, yeah.
Okay. We'll give it a try.
Because at that weight, it should be perfect, right? If you ended up in this position on a max ever deadlift, you wouldn't hear a peep out of me. But at that weight, how easily you're moving that, we can make that perfect.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. cable crunch. So this is more of like a sit up with a cable, a crunch. Think about as you're coming down, we want to keep, we don't want those arms extending. So you're going to actually want to get a little bit closer, and we want to crunch our elbows to our knees to pull it down. It's okay that you extend at the top with the midsection, but as you come down, you want to draw your midsection down towards your, so your elbows come towards your knees. So you're hinging as if it were like a good morning pattern. We want to hinge in that crunch pattern, that contraction. So I'm okay with how you are at the top. The only thing is we want to keep that implement that's connect the rope stationary, typically like behind your head, how it was there. So it's in the same place every single time, all the way through the rep. And we're dragging our elbows to our knees versus just folding over. It's probably great hip flexor work, honestly. Next. These aren't bad at all. You might be able to get your butt a touch lower, so we get more legs.
Okay.
And you should feel it a little. You should feel a little more access to your glutes and hamstrings if your hips drop slightly. I mean, like half an inch, and you should feel being in position. You see that where your hips are, how we're still very rounded.
Yeah.
If we bring our butt down just an inch, we should be able to get our pelvis anteriorly rotated. So think like if you're trying to arch your back, like that, if you're on your hands and knees doing that cat-cow position where we tilt our pelvis, so our tailbone rotates up and our belly button rotates down. That's what we kind of want to mimic in the hole there of the deadlift. And that's what's going to neutralize that spine. And it's so light. There's no reason why you should have any sort of flexion because you're more than strong enough to support that weight. So I'm saying that with 98% of your deadlift being great.
Oh, thank you. That was my first time trying, so.
Everything else looks fantastic here. It's just that one little piece.
Okay, I try next time. Thank you.
Yep, good job, man. We got here. These RDLs, if they're RDLs, these are good. I'd like to see a little bit more acceleration as you rise, so you get a nice hard butt squeeze and your hips come through. But the overall form and the hinge look good. Yeah. Next. She's doing a great job staying in position. All right, so we have some goblet squat action, whole lot of heel elevation. But she's flirting with depth. We could get a hair lower here. Honestly, the shoes you're wearing aren't working for you. Although all that heel, I would almost, especially on the RDLs, I'd rather see you in your socks or barefoot or something with a flat, lower profile shoe. So with this high heel elevation, this is almost like hack squat territory. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just it should be able to get you a bigger range of motion. So I would like to see you sit a little bit deeper. Your posture from the hips up, your brace, everything is in line where it's supposed to be. I would just like to see you get a little bit deeper on these. That's all. But good job. Next. These are great. You're bearing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I was
plenty
kind of
deep.
playing around with it, trying to find what felt natural, different positioning.
I mean, I don't see any restriction going on here. So if that's what feels good, I'd say let's throw some weight on and see what happens.
Okay. I'm gonna need the weight on that. Good things. I messed up my shoulders at work a couple weeks ago. Wasn't quite sure if it was messed up or if it was just sore. Long story short, you guys have all been giving such great advice in these Zooms on everybody else's injuries. I went to the doctor the very next day, started physical therapy, got a sports medicine person. He started having all kinds of questions about the club. He's like, no, stay in the program. If you just started next level or whatever, stick to workout number 2. Don't use your body weight vest for 4 to 6 weeks. Drop the weight on your arms, otherwise keep doing it. And I showed him, well, number 2's got, push-ups and inclines and all that. So he's like, just drop all your body, just do body weight. Just drop all your weight, keep doing the workouts. And like that right there is kind of an example between a general practitioner and a sports medicine guy, because they're just like, no, keep doing it. We want the movement. We don't want atrophy. Just cut the weight so I don't hurt my rotator cuffs while they heal. And then he gave me additional exercises to help those rotator cuffs.
You should invest in a SSB, a safety squat bar.
What's that?
It has handles here, so you don't have to hold the bar here. So
okay.
The bar was invented originally for people with shoulder and mobility issues, if I'm not mistaken. So it comes out like a normal bar and kind of has this kilted thing. I promise you've probably seen one on the internet or in a gym somewhere. And it has these pads and they come down and has 2 handles that sit right in front of you.
I have seen that device.
So
Okay.
those are utilized very heavily for people that can't squat holding, like that are just had a shoulder surgery. One of the guys that actually the property owner that the gym is on that I train out of, he had a shoulder replacement and that's all he squats with now. And he would have one hand on the bar and the other was in a sling with the safety squat bar on his resting on him. And he progressed his squats through his shoulder rehab. So that could be a useful tool that you have. I don't know if you normally go to the gym or work out at home.
I work out at home, but I kind of am inventive, so I'm probably going to build that device now. My main job is lifting overhead and straight forward and below frozen boxes, like 0 degrees all day.
Yep. Yeah,
so I think I'm going to be all right. I'm going to try to workout number 2 tonight on next level before bed and
awesome.
Get back on it and keep following everything.
Sounds good. Well, you're moving well, so I'm happy with this. Turn and burn. Sounds like you got a good physio.
Speaking of makeshift, I don't own barbells, and it showed up on the workout, so I just paused in between sets and went and made a barbell.
So this, I would like to see you in a RDL position. You see how your legs are locked and your entire back is in flexion. So
yeah, that was the first thing I noticed. My back's not flat enough, and I felt like I could bend my legs more.
So think about getting here, like pushing our butt back, so you feel a slight stretch in your hamstrings. So we're in a nice 45-degree angle with proud chest, and we're rowing to our belly button with our chest pressed out. So
okay, so instead of this, where I act like I'm doing a bad bench press upside down.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. So think about just pushing your belly button to the floor and rowing to your belly button. Slow the reps down.
Okay.
So we can get that. I would like to see you submit another video of your rows with the corrections.
So, and you want me to look at RDLs, for example, form?
Yeah. Look at like the halfway down point of an RDL is kind of, or stiff leg deadlift is very similar to a bent over row position.
Okay. I'll take a look at that. Like Jacob was saying earlier, you know, I know nothing, but my mind is open. Whatever you got, I go look it up.
That's why you have me.
That's right. Thank you so much.
Of course. Next one. What do we got here? We have dumbbell deadlifts. No, did I see that correctly? We have 92 videos. Whew. Okay, I need to pick up the pace. All right, so
I was gonna say, Nick, I was gonna get to like 45 and probably call it because we've been going for almost 2.5 hours, but let me know. We still have 13 people in here. But yeah, we have 92 checks. Sorry, I couldn't find my microphone.
you actually got better in the set as these went along. How you're pushing your butt back and you're stopping right before you fold. So that's good. These look good. See how the toes are light? All the right signs. Next. That's awesome that 92 people submitted videos. So your body position's good. I don't want you rowing to your chest. I want you rowing to more of your belly. So the same cue I kind of gave a few minutes ago. That's kind of a cross between a bent over row and a high pull. We want a bent over row. So more to your belly, less to your chest. But your body position is good. So simple fix here. Good job. Next. Uh-oh.
There you go. Right, Thomas.
There we go.
Still.
Uh,
Good bar. Great bar. Yep.
okay. Good position. We're just really high. Yeah, just got to sit lower. Drop some weight, get comfortable getting down below that plane because you're about halfway realistically. So we need to put the other half together. Drop some weight, even and try an empty bar. Get used to the full range. Record yourself from the side so you can have visual feedback to what you're feeling. But your position's good. You just need to get lower. And I think this is more of a confidence issue than a strength issue with how fast that weight's coming back up. So did this say RDL or stiff leg? So that's what it looks like. Looks like,
Yeah, it didn't say anything, but it looks like one.
I would say shallow those out a little bit if those are in fact RDL or stiff leg. Reason being, you've got great mobility, but reason being you fold slightly towards the bottom, and we want to avoid that folding. We want a nice rigid upper back. what I do absolutely love about this is your acceleration and the rate at which your hips come through. Boom, slams through. Boom, good. That you do great. But I would just take off the last, like stop there, like mid shin versus going down to the floor. So we lose that fold and we keep a nice rigid back. But everything else, it looks great. Next. The same thing.
I'm still there.
All right, Benoit.
So you wanted the front
Yes.
angle.
Good. I'd point your toes slightly out.
Okay.
We look at touch. That one looked deeper. That last rep was at depth. If not, it was close.
Okay.
We just want to sit a little bit lower. Just a little bit lower. Point those toes out, and you might notice a difference in your ability to hit depth with that going from here to here.
Yeah.
Because your hips need to track out because of the angle of our pelvis and our femur. So you see how your knees kick out slightly, but they can't because of, I think, of our foot angle. So if we go from here to here, you might feel a little bit of a difference. But your squats overall look good.
They look better, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a squat without a doubt.
Is it something possible? Like today, I still have a pain in the lower back. It's really a specific spot, and it's when I round my lower back, and I have some just let's say just leaning forward. If I round my lower back, then I have a specific spot of pain, but it appeared 2 days after that workout. So is it possible that even though I super try to focus on strengthening or tightening my lower back, when I go deep, maybe it rounds a little bit, and then that be the reason for that pain?
Yeah, it could be. You could be going into flexion if you're not braced and supporting that, and you are folding into flexion, which let me watch one more time.
I try I'm super I feel my lung, my stomach with the air, and I
Where are
really
you feeling the pain in your lower back?
I would say it's well, hard to explain.
Dead center, one side or the other.
Center.
Okay.
Center, and it's
like just above your butt crack, higher, like where are we talking?
a little higher.
Okay. So it could be, you could have a little bit of, it could be a nerve impingement. It could be slight disc herniation. There's no way of telling which. Neither are catastrophic. My entire lumbar is herniated with a tore L5S1. And so it's a matter of, have you gone and done any of these? How long has it been going on? You said 2 days?
It appeared yesterday. And it could also be because I've put my 80-pound dumbbells on the bench, so I had to lean just a little bit to grab them. And
but you didn't feel it during squats.
No, it didn't appear during the squats.
Okay, so it could have been just like a little tweak. Pay attention to it. If it gets worse, go see a physio. If it dissipates,
it does dissipate. Like today, it's getting much better, and I plan on just using light weights.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. Just adjust for a couple days, let it calm down, because it's probably has something to do with inflammation, and then resume. And if it's gone, then these are normal aches and pains. With typically with lifting, you'll have these little tweaks where they go away in about a couple days or a week. So I wouldn't, if you're moving pretty well again, I wouldn't stress too much over it.
All right. Thank you, Nic.
Yes, sir. Are these the IYTs?
Yeah.
Okay. These look all right. I would just slow them down. Take about like 2 to 3 seconds on each rep. More control, less of a swing. We've got the right idea, man. That I would just slow things down a bit. Lighten the weight if you need to. These aren't gonna, blow your shoulders up or anything. These are meant to be a primer, or a recovery movement, depending on where you put them. So we want slow and controlled. Next.
It's gonna be our last one of the day. I'm sorry. Keep an even number. Some attendance. Nic, we can also finish these together at a different point if you'd like to.
Yeah, that's fine. So with barbell rows, what I always recommend people do is they deadlift them, do 1 full rep of deadlift, stand all the way up, brace, then go down into your row position. So when you pick these up, you were out front. Look how far away that bar is from you, bit, and you had to row back. Now it's light enough you can get away with it, but your actual row position looks great. I just recommend you stand all the way up as if you were deadlifting, then come down into your row position. It's much easier to brace, much easier to get everything tight where it's supposed to be. And you won't accidentally, tweak something, picking it up that far out in front of you. So your actual row looks good. I've got no issue. Just how you get there. I would do it that way instead of you're biomechanically stacked. So you're better in alignment, and then you brace, and then you get down in position, and then you start your rows. So you'll just start with much more tension.
Hey, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for
Talk to Nic.
I didn't get to all of them, but I will do all of these. So if we didn't get to you today, Noah, you tell me when you have time, and we can knock these out.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not doing anything today, I eat breakfast and stuff.
Yeah, I just gotta go train. I have my speed work with my log, and then after that, I can make time.
Yeah, let's plan on doing that then. And then for everybody else, we'll upload both of those. So this Zoom and then the one with me and Nick's follow up on YouTube by probably the end of the day or tomorrow. So keep an eye out on that. And then if you have any questions or maybe we missed something on accident, just send a message in the app and we'll make sure to get it to you guys somehow. I know there's been a couple issues, so we'll start to dial in how to do that the best means of doing that. So for patience.
Yeah, we'll sort it.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate your time.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.